Episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And we got a game day as the Chicago Bulls face the Washington Wizards at home, their first game home after 6 games. We're going to break it all down, talk about it, what to expect right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, family. We got game day today. The Bulls face the Washington Wizards without Bradley Beal. I don't know if a determination has been made on Javonte or Alex Caruso as of yet. I will check on that during the stream so we can see who we got going into this game. But at the end of the day, it's this. This Chicago Bulls team has to get their life together. And that's really what it just boils down to. They face a team in the Washington Wizards that are much like them, a middle-of-the-pack team so far in this season. And so them missing their franchise player, we should be able to win this game. But as we know with the Chicago Bulls team, you cannot overlook anybody. You can't expect anything from the Chicago Bulls team. This team could face freaking, I don't even know right now. They listen, they could face the no-ranked Division III school basketball at whatever random community college and probably still lose at least 2 games out of 10. You just never know with this team. So because of that, we don't know how to predict it. It's so hard to predict what this team is going to do night in and night out because they're just so inconsistent in their level of play. I don't want to harp on the bad things too much. Zach LaVine's coming off one of his biggest games of the season in a loss, but hopefully we continue to see the improved play from Zach LaVine over the last 3 games, kind of looking more like himself, 27.7 points per game, 50% shooting in those games, and they've been some of the best defensive games as well that he's had. But we know that we need more than just Zach, even if Zach's shooting is on. So, we'll see what this team can do in this game. I hope that they can play well. I hope that they can come in and just, look like a formidable team. That's what I can hope. So, all right, now we're going to go ahead and turn it in. We're going to get into your guys' comments. Smear60 says, Mr. Haize, how's it going? First of all, that's my dad. Don't call me Mr. Haize. I ain't that much older than you. But what's going on with my little brother from another mother? Good day, Haize. Good day, Troy. Yeah, good looking too, because I saw the tweet. I didn't respond to it. I had to re-upload the episode. It should be good now, but Troy I could always trust on Bulls Troy to have my back. Always. Bulls Troy says, Javonte's out. Caruso's good to go. All right, well, there we have it. Shay says, my nigga, I love that hat. Listen, I told you I'm the king of Bulls merch. Y'all just got to listen. Just watch what I do. I'm always going to have some dope Bulls merch. It's really getting into the depth of winter, so you're going to see a little bit more Scullies from time to time. So it is what it is. Marquis in the building. What's going on, fam? Alana says, hope you had a good birthday, Haize. I had a great birthday weekend, the weekend before. Just time with my kids and family. Like it was a great birthday. I appreciate that. Samir says, what do you want to see from the team today, Haize? A win. That's it. At this point, I don't care. I don't care if every starter scores 8 points. If it comes in a win, I'll take it. We'll worry about the less later. I don't care how they go about the win. I don't care if it's a pretty win, a dominant win, an ugly win, a buzzer beater win. I don't give a shit. Right now, before I can even worry about what I want to see this team do and execute, I just want a dub. That's all I want is a damn dub. Can we get a dub, please? Can the fans in Chicago tonight, in the UUC, can they see a goddamn win tonight? That's what I want. I don't care about nothing else but a dub. Charles Barkley said blow it off. Okay, who gives a damn what Charles Barkley said? Charles Barkley also said last season that the Celtics should separate Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And now look at them. They worked it out. Don't worry about what Charles Barkley say. Charles Barkley don't really be knowing what the hell he talking about most times. Charles Barkley is just be talking, bro. PB and Patch, hope Javonte to get through his bone bruise, and it's the same injury as Lonzo. So I hope he's not out for the rest. Well, keep in mind, so Lonzo's injury, the bone bruise wasn't the injury. The injury was a partially torn, was it a MCL or meniscus? Partially torn meniscus, I think is what it was. That was the injury. Even the bone bruise kept them from being able to diagnose what was going wrong. And that's not what kept him out either was the bone bruise. And even when they went back in and did the surgery, it wasn't because of the bone bruise. It was because of the loose cartilage in the knee. So yeah, I highly doubt Javonte's going to miss the rest of the season. Highly doubt that, but I could be wrong. Markel in the building says, man, that drip, listen, come on. I'm the Bulls drip god. Y'all know what it is, man. Steve-O speaks. Okay, Negro saying, is this what we doing? This what we doing? I'm from Chicago, go, go. Ho, ho, ho. That's how we going to do it. Oh, man, my grandpa used to watch Bulls every game together up until last Friday when, David, I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Prayers to you and your family. I hope you guys find peace. But this is what I'll say, right? And I'm always one that's difficult with dealing with death. But keep in mind, you didn't lose him. He's still watching the game with you. I always say it like this. Us losing people here on earth just means that we gained an angel that's looking out for us in a way they could never look out for us if they were still here physically. So prayers up to you, your family. But listen, your grandpa is still definitely watching this game with you, brother. Still watching the game with you. Hopefully both DeMar and Zach can get it going instead of it being one or the other. We'll see. Listen, I have no faith until I see it. What did I say the other day? You got to show me. That is from everybody. That's from the coach to the players to the front office because they all talk some real good stuff. I'm done with the talk. Y'all got to show me. And hopefully they show me tonight. Emmanuel says, happy belated birthday, Haize. Thank you. And also happy belated birthday to Brandon L. Jett. I don't know if he's going to be here in this one. Smear60 says, I'm 21. I'm still not that much older than you. I'm older than you. I ain't old enough to be, don't be calling me sir, bro. If it's not a win, I'm 5 minutes away from the UC. I'm going to walk down there and put Billy in a chokehold until his head pops off. God damn, Keith. Okay. Well, hey, that's commitment, bro. I appreciate you. Vincent Harris. I need to see the Chicago Bulls put their foot on this team's ass, but do I really believe it's going to happen? No, the Bulls may win by 3 or 4. Listen, Kyle Kuzma and Porzingis is probably about to cut, right? It's probably what's about to happen. Smear60, it's time to bounce back. I don't want to see another rebuild, man. Listen, it's not going to be another rebuild. As much as that terminology is going around, there's not going to be a full rebuild. At best, there's going to be a retool. There's not going to be a full rebuild. I'll tell you what, watch what I say. This Bulls team will not go full rebuild unless we're another 2 or 3 years into this, and it just ain't working. At that point, they may trade Zach. If they ever trade Zach LaVine, that signals the full rebuild. Even if they do trade DeMar, which is not likely to happen, even if they do trade Vooch, still not as likely to happen, but more likely than the DeMar trade, they're not going to go full rebuild. They're going to retool, not rebuild. Again, that brings some PTSD in of itself. Shay says, we have to take it one game at a time, this one and on to the next one. Yeah, that's it. Win this one. You said the wrong win, but I got to mess with you. But yeah, win this one, and then it's on to the next one. Ain't really excited to watch this game, and I don't think I will be until this team goes on a winning streak that gets them above 500. Well, you got to watch the journey, Mixo. You got to watch the journey. If this team does go on a winning streak that gets them above 500, that journey is going to be fast and fun, and we are going to watch it every single game here. We're going to be really doing those things. So, Alana, I know the Bulls as a team aren't looking too good, but at least if we start winning, it'll be foreseeable to get into the play-in, as almost all teams in the East have 11, 12, 13 losses. Yeah, there's really not that much separation in the Eastern Conference. I know that, Bulls being under 500 and out of the technical play-in, even the play-in tournament right now, is scary for some fans. But keep in mind, from where we are now to the 4th seed, right? To the 4th seed is only 3.5 games. Just keep that in mind. That's how much parity it is in the Eastern Conference, and it's pretty much the same in the West as well. That technically, the Bulls are only 3.5 games away from being the 4 seed. So that changes everything, right? So it's easy to be down. And let me not say it's not wrong to be down. I would absolutely be down on this team right now, as I am and as a lot of you guys are. But let's keep it in perspective. I know it looks dour right now, and they do have to show it before we're ready to trust it, right? But if this team does somehow turn it on, if this team does somehow get their shit together, we're only 3.5 games away from being one of the top 4 seeds in the Eastern Conference. So just keep that in mind. Right now, Atlanta's the 4 seed, in which as much crap is going on there and as bad as they looked at times, it's not anything guaranteed they're going to hold on to that. So we got to keep those things in perspective as well when we're talking about and people acting like, oh, the season's all over for the Bulls. There's the season, when you have over 50 games left and you're less than 4 games out of being the 4 seed, much less, and even less games than that from being in the playoffs, the season's not over with yet. So let those sky is falling fans have their moment. It's right. This team has sucked. They deserve to have their moment. Let them get over it. But let's see how this team starts to play. Let's see if this team starts to get it together. Chi-Town Javier says, this team is just treading waters. We're not bad enough to tank, but good enough to truly not good enough, I guess we mean, to truly compete. Oh, yeah, this team isn't good enough to compete for a title, right? We're talking about playoff bursts and playoff victories. Like, we're far away from being able to be in any type of contending talk, for sure. Bro, what do we give up Daniel Gafford for and why? Again, we gave up Daniel Gafford because there was no way he was getting that contract here at the Chicago Bulls. And then now look at it. The Wizards improve. Daniel Gafford's playing, 13 minutes a game? So imagine right now paying Daniel Gafford what he's making, which I think it's like $13 million. Could be wrong on that. And to do that, to only play 30 minutes a game. So let's just be clear here, right? And again, I get it as Bulls fans. We always look back and look at things like that. Oh, no, he's not getting paid that much money. Whoa, what was this kind? I didn't realize he signed for that amount. So technically, Daniel Gafford right now is only making $1.9 million a year, which is crazy. Can we get that? Can we trade for that contract? Only making 1.9, but I mean, he's playing like a role player. I was completely off on this contract, so that's on me, right? I can admit when I'm wrong. But Daniel Gafford isn't playing great anymore. Like that time period where Daniel Gafford was looking like a starting center after leaving the Chicago Bulls is all but gone. His efficiency's in the toilet. Now again, he's not getting as many chances as what he was before. But let's not act like Daniel Gafford's killing people out there. He's averaging 5.9 points per game, 4.2 rebounds. Technically, we're getting more production from Andre Drummond for less money. Well, no, it's more money, right? So, it is what it is. But he was never going to get that contract here in Chicago. What the hell was that? I'm from Chicago, go, go, ho, 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 motherfucker. Let's go, Haize. Amar or Rosen for 30 tonight. That's fine, because if he still don't guard a goddamn thing, then it is what it is. He's still Amar or Rosen. But but he definitely can go off tonight. Well, I don't know. Denny guarded him well last time. Like, beyond well last time. So we'll see what happens in that one. Smear60 says, I've really been nostalgic about last season. It was so much fun. Now I'm depressed with this season, man. Hey, it's not over with yet. It's not over with. Let's see how it goes. Haize said, no. Chi-Town Javier says, Haize, when can we start calling you Unc? Why would you start calling me Unc? First, no, don't ever call me Unc. That's C-Dub. You can't call me Unc. Kendall says, Haize, my boy, happy belated. Bulls have to get the dub tonight. Point blank, no bill tonight. Exactly. But listen, it's so crazy that you can't even do it. I was roasting Billy because he was growing out his beard, looking all depressed, but he was doing it to support a Bulls coach to wear awareness for cancer. Yeah. It was good to watch that All Access and see that he was doing that, man. I like the explanation much more better. I want a retool of this roster more better than a rebuild. Oh yeah, this team is not going, like, let the fear of it going full rebuild, or even if you are looking forward to it, let that positivity go away. This Bulls team is not going full rebuild anytime soon. It's just not happening. It's not. Now, I would say this, right? Is there a chance? I'm not going to say that it's completely impossible, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen. AK and Eversley aren't going to go full rebuild especially while they're in the first year of Zach's contract. Zach coming back from knee surgery, it's not going to happen. Now, there are some things that may not be fitting with this team that they may look and say, hey, we got to work on some things. We got to retool some things. But a full rebuild ain't happening. We as Bulls fans been through this for years. Even if teams' best players are out, Bulls still find a way to never take advantage. I see, obviously, Kuzma, Porzingis, and 2 role players going off on us. It can definitely happen. That's one of the downsides about the Chicago Bulls team, right? Just looking at it. I said this. Corey Kispert is a chance to go off. Will Barton, a chance to go off. Daniel Gafford, a former Bull, chance to go off. Not likely, but a chance. Kyle Kuzma, Porzingis for sure. Hell, I wouldn't even put it past Monty Morris to have a chance to go off on us. You just never know with this Bulls team. You never freaking know. Brad says, happy belated, bro. I appreciate you. Appreciate that. Windy City Vid says, the stats say the Bulls had the hardest schedule in the NBA. I kind of disagree because the Bulls have just not had the momentum. Not that it's, oh no. See, that has, so strength of schedule has nothing to do with how the team is playing. It has nothing to do with how us as Bulls are playing. It has to do with the opponent's win percentage. It has to do with stuff like that. The opponent's road or home record, depending on if we're facing them at home or on the road. So it's a lot of things that play into it, but one thing that doesn't play into it at all is the Bulls' momentum. The Bulls have actually absolutely had the hardest schedule so far. When you look at the back-to-backs that we started the season off, the Bulls have had the rest disadvantage in almost every game this season outside of the few, and they lose the games when they have the rest advantage. So those type of things that play into it, not the fact if the Bulls get a momentum or not. Alana says, do all the teams in the East suck? No, it's just a lot of parity in the Eastern Conference. The Eastern Conference has improved a lot, right? And so because of that, you're seeing less separation from teams that we've seen in prior seasons. And so with that being said, like because of that, it like I said, the Bulls aren't out of anything. Anybody, if you guys are in any type of online conversation with anybody and they're like, oh, it's all over, just look at them in their face, tell them, Haize said you're an idiot. That's all you got to do. Send them my way. Don't even worry about it. You ain't even got to say it. Just say, Haize says you're an idiot. And then we'll see. We'll see. If they come to me, we'll have that smoke. I mean, I'm not saying that the season couldn't get out of hand to the point that it could be over, but when you're only 3 to 3.5 games back of being the 4th seed, it's not over for you. Just imagine if it was this, right? Let's say take the Bulls record out of the equation, right? Let's say if you just heard your team is 3.5 games away from being the number 4 out of 8 seeds in their conference. You would say, oh, well, there's a chance, right? People get so caught up in the Bulls being 9-14, which I understand, right? But the season is far from over, really far from over. It's a rumor that Nikola Vucevic could be traded at the deadline since they haven't extended his contract, making him a free agent. Thoughts on that? Well, they could extend Nikola Vucevic anyway. I mean, it's expiring contracts are always a chance to be moved. When you look at expiring contracts and how they're used specifically at the trade deadline, if you have a team, I'm just using this for an example. I'm not saying that this is going to work. I'm just using this as an example. So please, keyboard warriors, don't get to typing on me. But let's say, for example, the Atlanta Hawks look at this Collins situation and they say, listen, we got to move on from this guy. He literally has been talking about getting out of here since we gave him this big contract. What can we get back? If we don't want to really take on any long-term money. Again, not saying that they'll do that. They could say, hey, look at Vooch. Let's trade for Vooch. We can trade for Vooch. Can they throw in 2 seconds as well? You're going to throw in 2 seconds? All right, we're getting Vooch, 2 future seconds. We're going to send Collins over. We don't take on any long-term money. If they want to extend Vooch, they easily can. Veterans can be extended at any point. There's no like memorandum period when it comes to veteran extensions. So they can technically see Vooch play for them for a month, and then in, let's say, March, say, hey, Vooch has been averaging 20 and 10 for us. Let's go ahead and sign him into an extension. So it makes sense that the rumors are going around about Vooch. And I do think that if anybody's likely to be moved, it's more than likely going to be Vooch because he does have an expiring contract, things like that. But it just depends on the deal and what it takes to get it done. Keith says, people talking about the Bulls like we are the only team that's struggling. You got the champs. Warriors, they're 10th. Miami also 1 seed above us, and the Mavs who are struggling also. Exactly, right? When you're a fan of a team, you always have the community that's always going to think. That's why I call them sky is falling fans, right? That no matter what happens, they're always going to think the worst, right? There were fans that literally, when the Bulls were on their winning streak last season, that literally were like, "Oh, this team isn't it. You see, we only beat the Wizards. It took a DeMar DeRozan last minute 3-pointer. Oh, this team ain't like." It's always going to be that part of the fan base. We don't hear it as much when we're not as ingrained in the communities of those other teams, but it kind of is what it is, man. Kendall says, Haize, I'd be satisfied if the Bulls go 7-3 in the stretch and Zach look efficient and show improvement collectively. Agree. I completely agree with you there. Ever since Gafford got his ankles broke by KD, I can't respect him. Joking. That for real has tarnished him for me. Listen, that was hilarious. Like the zoom in on his face when he was laying down, that's crazy. Drew says his extension kicks in next year. See, that makes sense. What is this? Oh, there it goes. So starting next season, Dan. See, now that's the thing, right? Imagine having a player that you're paying $1.9 million to in Daniel Gafford, and then you're only playing him 13 minutes a game, right? You're not using him. He's not a big part of your rotation. But the next season, you have to start paying him $13 million per season. Just imagine that. Then that is a bad contract, right? Just based off how they use him. They use him $13.3 million. He's going to be getting $1 million per minute he averages. That's wild, right? That's wild. Now, last season he was playing 20 minutes per game. It came down to 13 this season. Let's see if it goes back up. But 24 games in, 0 starts, 13 minutes per game, that sounds like a player on the back end of your rotation to me. The Education James says, no cap, this season got Bulls fans losing their damn minds. We got to chill. Trust me, the second we miss the playoffs, hopefully not, the shit talking will and should be tolerated. Until then, chill. Oh, listen, if the Bulls this season get officially eliminated from playoffs, for those that get triggered by when I start going off, trigger warning. But until then, like you said, we need to chill. And I think it's the combination of this team's struggles on the back half of last season, combined with the slow start to this season, factor in the fact that Zach LaVine signed the largest contract in Chicago Bulls history and it started off slow. Like, this has just been a perfect storm for the sky is falling Bulls fans. It just has. Spring 60 says, C-Dub is my favorite old head. Mine too. He's Chicago tone loc all day. All day. Haize, if you had to let one of your stars go, who would you trade, DeMar or Zach? DeMar. It's easy for me. You don't trade a player, no matter how slow a season started off, you don't trade a player still entering their prime that you have under contract for the next 5 years. You don't do that. Now, you do that if you're going full rebuild and you just want to run the table, right? If you want to get as bad as possible, you do that. But you don't do that. So DeMar being where he is in age, DeMar also being the terrible defender he is, DeMar also being only one season left under contract after this season. All that said, you don't, if you're going to trade one of the two of them, you bet on Zach. Right or wrong, you bet on Zach. It just makes more sense in every stretch of the imagination. Joe the Blacksmith, this is hilarious. The Bulls' big three needs to ask himself, what would my MJ do? That's funny. Don't say that to Vuce, because then Vuce would be like, I'm about to shoot a bunch of threes, even though he didn't shoot a bunch of threes. So, it is what it is. Apologies, I'm in and out of the chat. I'm still working Courier Life. Have I missed anything about the Cam Reddish talk? No, I will be covering that on tomorrow's pre-recorded episode of Chicago Bulls Central. Not doing too much of that here on the pregame show. This is my time to interact with you guys, but you know what it is. MJ23, happy belated birthday, Haize and BL Jet. Been out of it this week with work. Appreciate you, brother. I'm sure Brandon appreciates it as well. There he goes. Brandon L. Jet. What's good, Big Haize? What's going on, big bro? Brandon L. Jet, my birthday twin, is in the building. Hopefully you had a good birthday, brother. Mixo says, I don't get why the national media is trashing on us when the Miami Heat are in almost the same spot. Because, like I said, it's the combination of the way that the Bulls season ended last season, right? And keep in mind, too, I always told you guys, I always tell you this, with the national media, if you can prove anything that they said right prior, they're going to stick to it. What did they come into last season saying? DeMar DeRozan's the most overrated acquisition. The Bulls are going to be lucky to be a play-in team. All this. They were real quiet on the Bulls at the start of last season when we were winning, besides a couple of analysts. But then they started talking real loudly again after the All-Star break when we started sucking. And they're talking real loudly again now. So because we're proving them right, they're going to talk real loud. Bulls shouldn't blow it up, but tanking this season is still the Orlando pick should be the part. No, shouldn't. Because, again, keep in mind, even if the Bulls were able to get the worst record in the NBA, they still have less than a 50% chance to hold on to that pick. So, no, this is not the year to tank. You do not tank when you don't own the destiny of your pick outright. And the reason why I say that is this. Because if the Bulls were to tank, and let's say the lottery happens, right, and they are out of the top 4, you still have a top 10 pick more than likely at that point. That's enough to really try to rejigger your franchise. But because the Bulls have such a narrow window where if it's anything outside that top 4, it goes to Orlando, you don't tank in a season like that. You do not tank in a season like that at all. Feels like the Bulls were so focused on the 1-17 thing against good teams from last season that they don't even give 100% team effort against the mid teams this season. Agreed. Juan Miller says, remember when Zach will show improvement because he didn't do much during the offseason. However, Zach is not a good leader and wants to. Well, you can't say somebody wants to be a hero and is not a good leader. You can say he's not a vocal leader, but Zach LaVine absolutely tries to lead through his play. That is why he forces it. It's not with Zach. It's not about Zach doesn't go out and force up shots to be like, oh, it's all on me. It's all on me. I'm the best. Like, he doesn't do it. Zach goes out and tries to force shots because he's trying to get himself in rhythm, because he does want the team to get wins. That's why Zach goes out and forces shots. I'm not saying that makes it any better, but we got to stop painting Zach as he's this player to force up shots just to get empty stats. That's never been Zach LaVine. Anybody who has watched Zach and his rise from that first season in Chicago coming back from the knee injury till now anybody who's watched all those games, they cannot with a straight face tell you Zach LaVine doesn't care about the game. He doesn't care about winning. Zach LaVine has had a terrible cast most of his time here in Chicago. And then when he did have a good cast, he was doing really good. And then the back and the knee injury started happening and took that away from him. And now he's having a slow start to the season. It seems like he may be starting to turn around. But, like, Zach isn't this, like, he's not the vocal rah-rah leader. He's not that. But he's not at all somebody who's just like, oh, I'm just going to do this shot just because I can do this shot. No, in Zach's mind, he's like, I'm about to take this step back three because we need a big three. We need a momentum change, and I'm putting this pressure on myself to do. That's how Zach LaVine is. He's not always successful in it, but that's how Zach LaVine is. Thoughts on replacing DeMar with John Collins? I know it can't be straight up, but with the two being main pieces, that way P. Will can go back to being the small forward, his natural position. Still disagree that small forward is P. Will's natural position. I wholeheartedly disagree with that because Patrick Williams does not have the lateral quickness to guard a lot of small forwards. Especially, it depends on if we had a better interior defense, then P. Will be fine at the three. And keep in mind this too. The way that Billy Donovan uses the four in this offense is similar. Go look at it. Go and look at Patrick Williams' shot profile when he was the starting three versus when he was the starting four. Billy Donovan uses him in the same exact way. You know why? Because DeMar DeRozan is basically a post player. DeMar DeRozan operates in the mid-range and towards the bucket. He's basically a post player. So I get what people say when they're talking about like Patrick Williams, he needs to go back to the three. And sometimes I think that that's just because that's the position he was at when he first came into the NBA, that people just stick to that. But Patrick Williams can absolutely be a solid four in this NBA. Matter of fact, I would think that Patrick Williams' ability to hit the three at the rate that he does makes him a really good stretch four in this league. If he keeps up the intensity, if he keeps up the aggression. And Patrick Williams is terrible with lateral quickness. So putting him on power forwards is a little bit better of a position for him to guard. So I don't think, I'm not saying that Patrick Williams can't be your 3, depending on the rest of the makeup of the roster. But as far as the John Collins, I've got to completely away from your actual question. As far as DeMar John Collins thing, I mean, listen, if they were to do that, let's say that they were to do that trade, that with those two being the key pieces, I don't know the difference in what John Collins is making. Let me see. Let's see what John Collins is making. Damn it. God damn. John Collins is making $25 million a year. Okay. So what that means is that DeMar gets them close. DeMar's contract is what, 21 million? So he gets them close. Technically, if the Bulls were to do a package of, let's say it's DeMar, let's say Derrick Jones Jr., and then picks, because that gets you pretty close, I wouldn't be mad at that at all, but I don't think the Hawks do that. I think the Hawks are going to want P. Will back, if anything, if they do a trade for John Collins. That's my opinion. I could be wrong with that. But yeah. Billy getting extended definitely helped the frustrated Bulls fans just have something else to get to. Well, I know Zach is slowly improving, but have we ever seen him come out this inefficient? I get the injury, but remember him always starting season strongs. Well, I don't know if you saw the video I did. Zach LaVine's start to the season was basically the same way he started the year he came back from his ACL tear. His first season with Chicago, the percentages are basically the same. The points per game are nearly the same. The shooting from both the field goal and 3-point percentages are basically the same. So we have seen this before. And it just coincides with the last time we saw Zach LaVine come back from a major knee injury. Now, that season, he only played 24 games, so he didn't really have the chance to work himself out of it. This season, he's going to hopefully play way more games than that. So we really see what Zach LaVine looks like maybe 30 games into the season, because as he's starting to improve, it looks like he may be working himself out of that. Brendan Ojet says, happy belated birthday again, Big Haize. Appreciate you, fam. You already know. Nando in the building says, happy birthday, Haize. Enjoy watching your videos, bro. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys hit the like and subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the channel, by the way. Make sure you guys are doing that. You guys need to subscribe to the channel. We missed the goal of 10,000 subscribers by my birthday, but I can't hold that against y'all. I was saying from that was a far stretch to get that many subscribers in that small amount of time. But, you know, we got close. We less than 500 away. The Education James says, I think without question, if the Bulls finish below a top 5 seed this season, there's no reason not to blow it up. Team regress, and Debo's just getting older. Well, I still think there's to blow it up. No, you still don't blow it all up as far as if you mean full rebuild by then. But keep in mind, even if the Bulls finish below top 5, it depends on the record, because technically it's not regression, because the East is so much better than it was last season. That's the way that I look at it. If the Bulls technically walk away with less wins than what they did last season, and they're like the 6th seed, I don't look at that as a regression, because the East is just a better conference than what it was last season. There's way more talent in this East. We're seeing way more parity. So you got to kind of put those things in perspective as well. But I do think for sure, if the Bulls finish like 7th, 8th seed, even if they do make it out the play-in tournament, I do think some major changes are coming. I don't still think a full rebuild's coming, or that's what I think of when I hear blow it up. So, but you may mean something different by blow it up. I think either way, though, if you mean by blow it up, just separate this core, I think either way, unless this team literally goes on one of those streaks where they win like 25 out of 32, I think either way, this is the last season that we're seeing of this core. And by the core, I mean Zach, DeMar, Vooch, Caruso. I would throw Kobe in that as well. I think 2 to 3 out of those 5 players are gone next season if this Bulls team finishes horribly. They're gone. So Bill out and Roy out. Bulls better win this game. I have been predicting an L for tonight, but the Bulls have no business losing this one. They need this W tonight. I fully agree with everything you said, but because it's stacked up for the Bulls to possibly for us to say they should definitely win this game, that's why it may be an L. Like, I'm just being honest, right? Just got to be honest. Melvin says there's something about John Collins I don't. 100% agree. 100%. Like, Collins to me is a player that, like, and he could go to a different situation and goes really, really good. Like, to me, John Collins he's real flashy, right? It looks good. Like, if you just look at a series of Collins highlights, you would think like, hey, this dude balling. But when you see it in game, it's like, I've never seen a player that, let me not say never. It's rare that a player can do the averages that John Collins does, and it feels like it never impacts winning. Like, it just doesn't. It just feels like it never impacts winning. And maybe that's just me who feels like that. It's just weird with Collins. And also, he's an up and down player. Like, you can see Collins literally have a game where he has like 28, 10, and 6. And then for the next 2 games in a row, it's like 8 points, 6 points, 12 points. Like it's so weird with John Collins. So weird with John Collins. Is it dysfunctional? Is that what you're saying with the way you spelled it there? Any thoughts on how the Bulls could improve going forward outside of trades? Play defense consistently. Spread the ball more. Run a better offense. Move without the ball. Like, these are all things that this Bulls team could absolutely do to improve right now. Malachi says, yo, Haize, do you have a fantasy team? If you do, how are they doing? I don't do fantasy sports. I don't do it. I did it 1 year, and it literally took up so much of my life that I said never again. And that was before I had this show. I honestly probably wouldn't even have time before. Like, literally with all the streams I do on game days, I'd be sitting here like, oh, crap, I forgot to set my lineup. So yeah, no, I don't do it. I disagree with that. Keep in mind, we did go on a winning streak after Zoe initially went down. This is from Tyler. I feel like this roster will continue to struggle without Zoe. This team hasn't seemed to truly mesh since he went out. This team has played well without Zoe, but I will say this, Zoe makes everything easier. I've talked about that before. He makes everything easier on defense. He makes everything easier in transition. He sets the tone. He creates a lot of transition opportunities all of himself. I always remember the play where it was like Zoe guarded 4 different people on one possession. Like, Zoe is a monster. Don't get me wrong. But we got to stop hinging all of this things on a player that his teams never even made the playoffs. Right? And that's not me being a Zoe hater. I love Zoe and what he brings to this team. I just don't think that Zoe coming back alone fixes what's going on with the team. It helps. It helps. And I would love to see a Lonzo Ball and Andre Drummond pick and roll all day long. But it doesn't really solve everything that's going on right now. Bulls Troy says, I just DM'd you a screenshot of a trade proposal from the Bloody Horns podcast. Oh, shit. Y'all want to see me go off? Let me go get this message. Hold on. Which one did you send it to, Troy? Did you send it to my personal? I'm in the Bull Central one. Give me 1 second. There you go. I got it. Let's see what this is. Let's see. Yeah, this is where I want to put it. All right, so I'm going to put this trade up so you guys can read it. We're going to break it down together. Let me remove this from the chat so it doesn't cover it up. Wait, that's not right. Where the hell did it go? Okay. All right. Looks like it doesn't cooperate with my streaming software, so I'm just going to have to read it to you guys. So this is the Bloody Horns podcast trade proposal. This accomplishes my goal of getting rid of Vooch and bringing Derrick Rose home. So it's, hold on. What the fuck is this? What's happening here? All right. Eric Fournier, Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin for Nikola Vucevic, Patrick Williams, Kobe White, and Tony. Why do y'all keep bringing me idiots? Like, who is the Bloody Horns podcast? Like, legit. Like, I will never work with these motherfuckers. This is a terrible ass trade I did. Evan Fournier, Derrick Rose, Cam Reddish, Obi Toppin for Patrick Williams, Nikola. That's idiotic. That's idiotic. That's just stupid. That's dumb as fuck. What the fuck? That's stupid, man. That's uniquely idiotic. That's a peculiar ass trade idea. That's crazy. That is wild. All right, let's move on from that. Patty Jackson, hey, thank you for the super chat. Happy B-Day, Haize. It's also Petty Roosevelt B-Day as well. That's funny. That's funny. I don't know. Petty Roosevelt gives off Gemini energy. I feel like Petty Roosevelt gives off Gemini energy, but I could be wrong on that. Hey, saw a trade online for Vooch and the Nets. Nets get Vooch. We get Claxton and Joe Harris. What do you think? I don't hate it. I don't love it either. Let me be clear here, but I don't hate it. John Collins is legit DJJ with Mormon. That is hilarious. You are absolutely right on that. The NBA in general is better. Teams are more balanced out this year, and stars are spread out the league. Maybe explain what a lot of good teams are struggling. Why a lot of good teams are struggling? Absolutely, 100%. Austin says, "Haize, how are you doing, my friend? I'm here to say that Prophet Austin wants everyone to know the Bulls are going to win, are winning tonight by at least 10. Well, hey, shout out to you. Shout out to you." No, Austin, my birthday was Monday. So my birthday was the 5th. Yes, Mixo. I actually said this over on Locked on Bulls and almost got murdered for it. But it said, do you think DeMar will thrive in the six-man role? Maybe not right now, but maybe if this team continues to lose hella games or if we get more talent on this team. Yes. I would say this, and he'll never accept. Let me not say never. Maybe when this contract's up next season, if this team drastically improves and the Bulls say, hey, listen, DeMar, we would love to bring you back, but just because of floor space and because of things, we want you to be the sixth man. You're still going to get 28 to 30 minutes a game, and when you're in the game, the offense is going to go completely through you, but we need you to come off the bench. Would he do that at that point, DeMar DeRozan, 34, 35 years old? Maybe he does accept it. I said this before over on the other platform that Russell Westbrook accepting the six-man role literally may have just saved and extended his career. So we'll see. We'll see. Petty Roosevelt is definitely, which is funny enough because I was supposed to be a Scorpio. I think my original due date was like November 10th. I think that's when it was. My mom held me for like super long after the fact. That's why my head's so big. But yeah, that actually makes sense. Petty Roosevelt gives off Scorpio energy. That makes sense. Justin in the building says, happy belated birthday, Haize. I appreciate you, Justin. Still calling for Bol. I mean, how long did he sign for? I mean, it's probably not going to happen. They're not going to trade him either right now. Like, they're more likely to trade Mo Bamba than Bol. So, Andy says, DeMar DeRozan has a video clip of about 10 minutes with him doing a one dribble pull up. 10 minutes, worth checking. Belated happy birthday, gang. I appreciate you, Andy. Bulls get Strauss. I'm not reading. No. Max Strauss is literally, don't get me wrong, he's not terrible. But I just don't know. I'd rather make it if I had any trade that I could do, right? What was I about to say? If I could trade for any set of player right now, it would probably be Jakob Portal and Doug McDermott, which is so crazy to say because Dougie was sucked when he was here. But if we can make a trade for those two, and that's what we get back is Doug McDermott and Jakob Portal, I'm all down for that trade. I'm 100% down for that trade. 100% down for it. Muhammad says, happy birthday. I forgot to. My bad. Oh, you're fine. I don't expect you guys to tell me happy birthday, but I appreciate it that you do. Cheekids, I got to disagree with you there. Go and look at the plus minuses. The Bulls were not just good. They were great with Lonzo on the court. And also injury, Lonzo's injury prone. We get it. But at the end of the day, it's this, right? He was literally everything he needed to be when he was on the court. Everything. You don't pass up a player that fits. Like, the fit on paper was good, but the fit in real life was even better than what it was on paper. Somebody said, wait, hold on. Doug's contract's too big. No, Doug's contract's only $13 million. That's a decently paid role player. That's not too big. Not for me, not for the role that he would have here. Not to me. That's $13 million for what Doug McDermott can bring, and literally being the exact shooter and some size that we need, and he's been a better rebounder. Jakob Poeltl and Doug McDermott's contracts together are only $20 million. That's less than what Vuce is. Technically, we can get those two players back for Vuce and cutting Tony Bradley, because I'm sure the Spurs wouldn't want Tony Bradley. But then if you even add in a player like DJJ, right? If you trade in Doug McDermott for DJJ and Poeltl for Vuce, you lose something offensively with Vuce. You lose some shooting because Jakob Poeltl isn't nearly the shooter Vuce is. But again, you get a center that's more back to the basket. You get a center that is a better defender. Then you bring in a big man off the bench. You still can play Javonte, but now you have more size. Doug McDermott's contract isn't terrible. Him and Poeltl together's contract is not that much. You're looking at about $21 million with them combined. I didn't give you the exact numbers. That's not too big to make a trade. That's not too big at all. Chi-Town Javier says D Rose, Reddish, and Hardenstein for Vooch, Kobe, and a pick. No, they ain't trading Hardenstein. But no, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily hate that, but no, that's not. We don't need Derrick Rose. Like, and I know that. You know what? That is going to be. Before I go to bed tonight, I'm recording that video on why Bulls fans will never give up their pursuit on Derrick Rose, but why he's probably never going. Let me not say never be a Chicago Bull again, because he very well could. Towards the end of his career, say, I just want to play in Chicago. I want to go back home. I want to finish out my career there. I still think, regardless, he's going to sign one of those contracts where it's like the one-day contract, then he retires as a Bull, that Luol Deng and Joakim Noah did, but that's really it. Barry says, happy birthday wishes from England. I appreciate you. Always appreciate the overseas viewers, as I grew up over in Europe for a large chunk of my life. So always appreciate you guys, because I know that struggle of staying up late to watch games and all that. And that was before NBA TV, my time over there. OBJ for Kobe White. I think I'm good on that. I'm so glad no one in this chat is a Bulls GM. I'm glad most fans aren't Bulls GM. And I know people get pissed off every time I say that. But I listen, I hold true to it. I'm so glad that most Bulls fans, as much as they hate Garpax, and they make deals like them all the time. Like, literally all the time. So, most fans, right? I won't say all. I won't make a blanket statement and say all. But a lot of fans be coming up with some terrible-ass trade ideas. Terrible trade ideas. This Bloody Horns podcast is really I'm finna go in on them. Not right now. Like, I can feel it coming. Do I follow them? Do they follow me? I highly doubt they do. No, they don't. They couldn't follow me, because I was about to say, if I saw some stupid shit like that, I'd be like, man, come on. Praying IO plays better today. I hope so. Hope all is well. Vooch, no contract extension. You think Acme pulling the trigger before the trade deadline? I think it's a chance. I definitely think they're leaving the door open to say. And look, they could definitely be saying this, right? The Bulls could be saying there's no point in extending him right now. This team's not playing good. We don't want to lock ourselves in. Because keep in mind, I told you guys this before. The Bulls can have, if they don't re-sign Vooch, if they don't re-sign Kobe White, If all their contracts that are coming up, if they don't extend those players, the Bulls could have up to $15 million in true cap space on top of another mid-level exception. So the Bulls could be looking at it and saying, hey, we thought about extending Vooch when we thought the continuity bet was going to pay off, but we can let Vooch walk. We can delay the IO re-signing. We can let Kobe walk. We can renounce these rights, and then we can go out and try to get a player for $15 million. Is Jakob Porto a free agent? I'm just, for example, right? They could try to do something like that. Raffaello says, let's get Shea and AD. I wish it was that easy. Like, I love when people say that, like, hey, let's go get one of them ADs. Like we can just walk into Walmart and be like, hey, how much y'all selling them Anthony Davises for? You said Anthony Davis for $15 million? Oh yeah, let me get one of those Anthony Davises. I'm about to head out. It's not that easy. We ain't getting Shea or AD anytime soon. Anytime soon. Matthew says, I seriously do not think 9-14 is as bad as people think because, one, we have had the toughest schedule in the NBA, and two, we have won just 2 more games. We would basically have a 500 record. Well, yeah, I talked about that at the beginning of the stream. I don't know if you're here. The Bulls are 9-14, and they're 3.5 games from being the 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. There's not, like, the wins are just more scarce right now. Gary says, Haize, hope to have you and Pat on my channel soon. About to start making content. Hey, Gary, I said this before. I am flattered by any invite to be on anybody's platform. I don't care if you got 1 subscriber or 1 million subscribers. If you want me there and invite me and the schedule works out, I'm there. So you just got to hit me up. I'm definitely there. The delusion is real. Yeah, it's definitely real. Would you rather have Jakob Porto or Miles Turner? Porto, only because he's a better passer than Miles Turner. And one thing that we do and have seen that this Bulls offense, when it's rocking and rolling, having interior passing is important. Miles Turner is a terrible passer. Terrible passer. Go and look at it. He's terrible. And I know he brings blocks. He's a better three-point shooter than Vucevic. Here's what I'll say to this. If you want to change the way that you play and allow for more possessions for Patrick Williams, Ayo Dosunmu to really grow their offensive game, Poto's the pick. If you want a player that's going to come in and you're going to play a similar style to Vooch with better blocking, less passing, right, but still less shots for Ayo, because keep in mind, Miles Turner is going to put up some shots. He's having the best season of his career, so shout out to him. But then you would say a Miles Turner. It really depends. If the Bulls make a move, I want to see the style of play completely change on offense. And because of that, I like what Porto brings. More importantly, that's what I like. That's just my opinion. If Lakers can turn it around, I know the Bulls can do it. Yeah, you're absolutely right there. Well, Cheekage, you have to also keep in mind what you're saying here, but also from what I saw last year in 5 years of LaVine barely making the playoffs. What you saw 5 years of LaVine was with a terrible team, and most of that was with a terrible front office that couldn't build a team to save their life. So you have to wipe that away, right? I know it's hard. It's hard for me. If you guys watch Locked on Bulls, I go into PTSD time all the time, so I understand it. But, like, you got to let that go. That 5 years with Zach LaVine, they drafted a bunch of players that they didn't use right, didn't have a system to utilize, didn't develop. So I don't judge just Zach by that. Zach is not a generational player. So to ask Zach to get the Bulls to the playoffs alone is asinine. And I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm just talking generally here. He's not a generational player. He's just not. Usually, generational players are the one that can get your team to the playoffs regardless. But so, yeah, Zach is not generational. We know that. But yeah, those 5 years with Zach and not making the playoffs, like that to me was more of the roster that he had where he just didn't have much to work with. You think Kobe can be that spot-up shooter we need, or do we got to trade? I think Kobe has the potential to be. I just don't know if he ever is going to be. The Education James says this still that weird part of the season where most teams don't have a legit identity yet. I mean, I can agree with that. I can agree with that. Well, Debo, it doesn't matter what I think with that, because guess what? Billy Donovan got signed to an extension. He's not going anywhere anytime soon. Lakers turn it around with not just Davis, role player step up with Looney, 20 points per game. Austin, 16 points per game. Role players are not it. Do you see Poto as a replacement or backup for Vooch? Well, I think if the Bulls were to make a trade, I think they're trading Vooch. I don't necessarily see them bringing in Poto as a backup because they already have Andre Drummond. I think if they make that type of move, it's to bring him in as a starting center. That's my opinion. Could completely be wrong and off the base with that. But all right, y'all. Game's 4 minutes away. We're going to go ahead and shut down the stream. I will be back for the halftime hangout. I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Like the video before you head out as well. Make sure you follow the show at Bull Central Pod. You can send any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because of you guys. I see you guys here at the halftime hangout. Go Bulls. See red. Peace, y'all.